Of course, Wednesdays on the Sports Desk is all about women in sport, and today is no different. And historically, the South African Boxing Act originally did not allow women to take part in the boxing game at any level. The role of women in the sport was restricted to outside the ring as spectators and caregivers. But not to be deterred, Vabaza-Booi entered the uncharted waters in a male-dominated environment and never looked back. She became a pioneer for women's participation in boxing and the first woman official in South African professional boxing, a reign that spanned over several decades. But in March this year, Vabaza shocked many in the boxing world when she announced her retirement as a ring official to focus on serving the sport in a different capacity. This week, we found out what that capacity was as Vabaza was announced as the new provincial manager for the Eastern Cape, ushering in a new era in the Eastern Cape boxing and becoming the first female to occupy the role in the entire country. Vabaza-Booi joins me now to talk about the new appointment and her vision to revive Eastern Cape boxing. Sia, thank you so much for making time this morning. Welcome to the AM report. And I suppose that's the big question. What is your plan to revive boxing in the Eastern Cape? Because it was traditionally an area that was known as the mecca of boxing in South Africa, a number of international bouts at the Orient Theatre, and being known as the province to look for in terms of boxing. But that hasn't been the case in recent years. What has been the challenge and what are you bringing in as the new provincial manager?
Morning to you and good morning to the AM viewers at home. As we all know that it was not only the Eastern Cape, but the Eastern Cape is put it on the spot because it's the mecca of boxing. It was not. It is still the mecca of boxing. So the whole country suffered. But now our focus now and our aim is how do we move forward? The plan now is to rebrand ourselves as it has been declared as the year of the glove. The point is to do now things in a different way, to portray a positive image, to attract more sponsors. Yes, we are going to do things more professionally this time around because we need more sponsors to come into to come on board, because without sponsors we will be lacking. As I am sitting right now, I have just been appointed to this post from the 1st of June. I am already sitting with the applications lined up from 24th of August 2024 to the 15th of June. There are dates in between that have been blocked already. So we are going to see the glory days coming back to the Eastern Cape.
And what does that actually mean? Because we've had a conversation previously with the acting CEO of Boxing South Africa, Mandla Nhlanganiso, who echoed the same sentiments, wanting to return boxing to its glory days. You've mentioned now that you want to do things professionally, you want to do things differently. What does that actually mean? Where are the changes going to come in? Where were things not being done professionally and why?
Not to say things were not done professionally. When you sit back and do your SWOT analysis, you check your opportunities, your threats, your weaknesses, and where are your strengths. So now we are rebranding because we've done a SWOT analysis. We have repositioned now the brand of boxing nationally, not even in the Eastern Cape.
Let's talk about some of the challenges that have been plaguing the province that have been quite topically spoken about in terms of outstanding finances within the province. Is that going to be an area of focus? And what is your plan then to ensure that you're able to recoup the outstanding amounts from the promoters and also get boxing bouts back into the province?
The financial matters, we've got the CFO for the organization and the finance department. They deal with such matters. Those are outside my duties. We've got the CFO and the finance department. They are dealing with financial matters of the organization. Mine is just to oversee the running of tournaments, the administrative side of the provincial things.
But would that not impact your responsibilities in some capacity if, there are funding issues within the province, as we've seen another topical discussion happening with two promoters being awarded funding towards the end of last year, which wasn't distributed equally. So would that not in some instances impact the role that you would have to fulfill and therefore make it important for you to know what the financial standing is in the province? And that leads me to the question then, what is the standing in the Eastern Cape at the moment?
As I've indicated to you that I was just appointed as from the 1st of June. We are going to sit down with the board and have a meeting that is going to unpack all that needs to be done. So I don't want to put a cart before the horse. We are still going through the induction process. So I don't want to answer for the things that happened previously that I was not even serving in this capacity that I have just been appointed to right now.
Fair enough. And let's talk about this new administration that you're going to usher in then. 20 years under Phakamile Jacobs, of course, there would be a lot of expectation on your shoulders. What are you going to be bringing in differently? And what has the reception been like so far from the other members within the boxing fraternity?
I was overwhelmed by the response, the positive response, phone calls, the messages that I've been getting internationally, not even here at home. So now the way forward is to sit down with the stakeholders, that is the licensees first. And we have an indaba of our own. I need to listen to what the masses want, what the licensees want. Then we map a way forward. Then we formulate a working program based on the interests of the licensees. Remember, boxing comprises of all the stakeholders, that is the boxers, the trainers, managers, the promoters, the ring officials, the matchmakers. We need to listen to everyone and consolidate all those things and come forward with formulating a working plan.
And Sia, another area that should be somewhat of a concern is we in an Olympic year. In fact, we aging ever so close to Paris, but there are no boxers that are going to be going over to Paris from South Africa. And it does seem like the boxing competition for the amateur boxing has also dwindled down. What are your thoughts in terms of what could be contributing to what we're seeing and the lack of boxing at a higher level, especially for the younger boxers?
As I've indicated to you earlier, there is a fine line between amateur boxing and professional boxing. I was serving in a different category, and all my focus was there. So I cannot say what went wrong, what is not going right with the amateurs that we are not represented in the Olympics. Until I research and get the right information, I cannot just suck that information.
Well, I suppose now we should find out when then will the opportunity come for you to be able to get that information. Have you requested it from some of the lower strings in boxing to get that information coming through to you so that you do crack down and start addressing some of these issues? Because you've said repeatedly that you haven't had a chance to look at some of these issues and the information hasn't been forthcoming. So has there been a request perhaps to get those reports, to get a state of Eastern Cape boxing and to then start cracking on those areas that need to be remediated?
My main focus for now is to be fully inducted on what is expected from me. Then when I've got all the tools, the information that I'm going to need, then we are going to start working. As I've indicated earlier, that I'm still going to sit down with the stakeholders and map a way forward and formulate a working plan. Unfortunately, after just being appointed, I had a bereavement. I lost my son. It is only now that I am settled and I am focused. For your information, this is the first interview after my appointment with you with Newsroom AM.
Well, condolences on the loss of your son, and thank you so much for granting us the opportunity then, and congratulations yet again on the appointment as the Eastern Cape Provincial Manager.
Thank
you. Of course, that is Sia Vabaza-Booi, who has recently been appointed to that position. We'll get a check-in as time goes on in terms of some of the inroads that have been made. As she says, the time hasn't arrived for her to look at some of those problems and get cracking.